two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing 1, 2, 3.
so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to begin, so we're asking those of us who are on the outside to please join us here on the inside. I promise you that we still do have space here for you. We are indeed ready to begin. Let me welcome everyone to the Rebranding and Quality Recognition Ceremony for the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. My name is Debbie Bissoon, and it is my pleasure to share this milestone with you this evening as host of the proceedings and on behalf of the ministry. I say a big thank you for joining us here. As Jamaicans would say, in good vibes, right? And I saw and I observed earlier on as we entered the room and got reacquainted, and we saw persons who we only saw last year saying, Happy New Year, good to see you. And it's still January, so if you haven't yet said Happy New Year, can you just turn to the person beside you and say, it's good to see you, Happy New Year. It is still appropriate. Now, I know it has been a very testing few days, but we still have so much to be grateful for. And for me, I'm so grateful to be alive and living still in one of the best countries on the planet. We have some of the most resilient and steadfast people anywhere in this world. And so still we press forward for the better, and that is what this event is about. So at this time, I ask everyone to please stand for the singing of the national anthem of our loved island, Jamaica. We're going to be inviting at this time Gawain Ferguson of the University Singers to bring the anthem, after which we ask that you remain standing for the prayer by Mrs. Andrea Marie Dawes, Executive Director for the Anti-Dumping and Subsidies Commission. Come on up.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil past. Be our light through countless paths. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Lawless send us, Heavenly Father, grant your will from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray to my Father in heaven. Father God, we come this evening thanking you, focusing on you first, because Jamaica land we love. Father God, we cannot accomplish in our own strength, though we are Talawa. We need you. And so we come this evening welcoming you into our midst, and looking to you for strength, for vigor, for courage, and Lord, for inspiration and for accomplishing much. We thank you for this ministry, Lord, this ministry that works hard, this ministry that envisions new things and also, Lord, keeps what we need to keep. We ask you to inspire our ministers some more, as you do every day, and to inspire and to strengthen our permanent secretary, and Lord, for our chair people and our boards, to give them the commitment and the courage they need to make the proper judgment calls. And for those of us in the trenches every day, give us what we need, God. So we thank you this evening. We ask you to be present with all the joy that you can give us to experience this moment. We pray all this in Jesus' name, and we say amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you so much to Gavain Ferguson of the University Singers for the anthem, and also Mrs. Andrea Marie Dawes for the prayer. God is good. All the time. He is amazing. At this time, please, I ask that you join me in welcoming a few very special invitees to this evening's event. We'd like to say welcome to Senator the Honourable Aubyn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and I do hear that his phenomenal lady, always by his side, is also present. His beloved wife, Mrs. Hill. Welcome to you, ma'am. Dr. the Honourable Nigel Clark, I believe the minister is on his way, I hear, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. Dr. the Honourable Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much. Mrs. Sansia Bennett Templer, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry. Chairman of the Boards of Governance at the Ministry's agencies. We also have with us representatives of the business community, representatives of government of Jamaica entities. There is also Ms. Michelle Parkins with us this evening, Chief Technical Director, the management team, and the other members of staff at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce and its agencies. We also have with us members of the media, and I hear that we have an outside broadcast happening, it's still happening, yes? Yes, we have Sir Cliff Hughes on the outside from Nationwide, and we are streaming live on JIS, and so we welcome our guests who are online and on air joining us. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, again, we say good evening. So, we're gathered here today to celebrate because we have made steps in the right direction. Jamaica, though a dot on many maps, has been big in its pursuits and accomplishments, we can all agree, right? Yes, and in almost every area that we decide to give good quality focus. And the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, through its commitment to serve with quality and consistency, has decided to rebrand and also become ISO 9001-2015 certified. I think that deserves a big, rousing round of applause. We can all agree that raising the bar in our systems of operation and being held accountable in the way that we achieve is the way that we achieve our goals. And for Jamaica, we still have a big goal, a big vision in sight. Anybody remember the goal that we have in sight? You sure? What's the vision again? Vision 20? Oh, I just want to make sure that we remembered. And the vision is to live, work, raise families, and do business. Yes. And we're still able to do so. Do you believe that? Absolutely. And the steps we are acknowledging today signals that we are committed to getting there. So for the first half of this event, we will reveal the new branding of the ministry. And we'll get to see all the new brand assets as well. This brand advancement serves to underscore the ministry's focus on quality standards and excellence. This new look is modern and professional, and it embodies a commitment to provide ongoing support to Jamaican businesses in a streamlined, efficient way that is in keeping with international best practices. So to give us the official opening remarks, please help me welcome a lady of detail and results, Mrs. Sansia Bennett Templer, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Please make her welcome.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Good evening, everyone. Let me recognize my Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honourable Aubyn Hill, my Minister of State in the Ministry, Dr. Norman Dunn. We will shortly be joined by Minister Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. We have a lot of distinguished persons here with us this afternoon. And if I start recognizing all of them, we will be here all evening, and I know Minister wants us to have time to mingle and do business. And so I will just say very quickly, welcome to representatives of private sector organizations, private companies, chairpersons, and CEOs of our agencies and departments, both our agencies and departments, and I know others are here as well, from agencies that have previously been certified to ISO standards working in conjunction with this ministry. I also need to recognize my Chief Technical Director, Michelle Parkins, the staff of the ministry, staff of the agencies, staff of the departments, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And even that took a while. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome, on behalf of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's Business Ministry, a warm greeting to all here at the AC Hotel, to guests listening online, and to guests listening on nationwide radio, to this evening's Rebranding and Quality Recognition Program. Today, we unveil the new brand for what Minister Hill has aptly dubbed Jamaica's Business Ministry. This rebranding and quality recognition program is a watershed moment for the ministry and its agencies and departments. Led by Minister Hill, it is a new look that signifies our commitment to professionalism, to standards, to quality, to excellence, to new thinking, and reflects the ministry's focus on being the best in class. As we unveil the new brand identity for Jamaica's Business Ministry, we also celebrate and applaud the 7 MIIC portfolio entities that have received ISO certification, 7 so far and more to come. The ministry is proud of this accomplishment. We are also especially proud as we have ourselves received our ISO certification as a ministry, leading by example as the ministry charged with responsibility to implement ISO certification in the public sector. Today, we celebrate our commitment to excellence, to continuously raising the bar, and to enhancing our standards for the benefit of Jamaica. This quality recognition achievement accords with the MIIC's commitment to continuously improve the business environment, increase exports, secure a larger share of foreign investments, encourage and facilitate local investments, and to protect Jamaican consumers. It also aligns with our responsibility to implement the National Quality Policy of Jamaica and establish the National Quality Policy Council. This council will provide strategic direction in achieving the 3 goals: quality culture, quality infrastructure, and quality management. The MIIC stands proud as a leader in promoting and implementing quality management systems. Implementing the ISO 9001 standards in organizations and businesses demonstrates the ability to use a systemic approach in management. This is critical to business resilience and sustained economic growth. It also underscores a commitment to developing a culture of quality. The ISO unit of the ministry has continued to champion this process and is instrumental in the certification of 30 GOJ entities certified to ISO 1001 to date. And ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 other government entities in the process, and we're sure that by the end of this evening, those of you who are in the audience who have not yet started that journey will have a discussion with our ISO unit. They're at the back of the room, and sign up with them to start on this journey. We want to recognize Mr. Reginald Budan. Mr. Budan, please stand. Reg is a former permanent secretary of this ministry, but more recently was the ministry's ISO champion. And a lot of what has been accomplished because of the support that Reg has provided to the process. I also want to recognize Dr. Grace Ann Biggs Allen, who is the Senior Director in our ISO unit, for her sterling work. And to also recognize all the members of the ISO team who have been involved in this process. And I have to give kudos to the team at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. I came in 2021, and the process had started. It's a lot of work that's involved in ISO certification, but it does enhance your systems and processes because you have to look at how you document, you have to review everything that you do. Are you doing it well? Are there better ways to do it? Can you shorten the process and so on? And so it took a lot of effort on the part of the entire ministry team to achieve this ISO certification, and I want to recognize them and thank them for all of the work that they did in this process. Funding for the ISO certification initiative was provided by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service under the Strategic Public Sector Transformation Project. So I want to also thank the Ministry of Finance and the Transformation Implementation Unit of that ministry for the support that they provided to us with funding for the work that we did in this area. In addition to revealing the ministry's new brand assets and celebrating the entities that have been certified, this evening has another purpose. We're taking the opportunity to promote the importance and value of the country's quality infrastructure. We strongly encourage other private and public sector entities to take this journey to certification. I should have mentioned that several private sector entities have also been certified by the NCBJ. As the evening progresses, you will hear more from our certified agencies about how implementing quality management can increase efficiency, improve consistency in your operations, boost employee morale, and improve customer satisfaction. Later this evening, I also invite you to visit the National Quality Infrastructure exhibits at the back of the room and learn how the agencies of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, your business ministry, can help to improve the quality of your organization. In this dynamic global marketplace, fueled by unprecedented and constant changes in communication, innovation, and digitalization, Jamaican goods and services must compete on quality. A robust, well-defined national quality infrastructure is a tool that can leverage exportation, increase investments, and energize businesses. The economic future of our country relies on the willingness of every leader in this room to adhere to high standards, to quality standards that will allow Jamaican goods and services to stand tall among the competition in the marketplace. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us embrace standards. Let us adopt quality. Let us strive for excellence. Welcome again, and I wish you a pleasant afternoon with us.
And we say thank you to Mrs. Sansia Bennett-Templer, our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Can we give her another round of applause, please? And can we just give another round of applause, please, for those who have become ISO certified and those who have started the process, because that is a big deal, absolutely, for Jamaica's economic growth and for us to compete globally. And that is what it's all about. It's all about competing with standard. We are able to do so, even though we're little. As you heard before, we are very much Talawa. We still have so much to offer the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to give us the keynote address this evening is our minister, who has been hailed as the man with the Midas touch wherever he lends his expertise. Having made an impact across several industries, every role he undertakes, as we know it, has been laced with creative energy, quick thinking, and brilliant ideas. He has become well known in local and international business circles for his emphasis on sustainability and quality to grow Jamaica's economy. It gives me great pleasure at this time to welcome the Senator, the Honourable Aubyn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Debbie, our host for the evening. You know, I saw the PS getting confused between the Senator and the Honorable. I'll take the Honorable part. I know the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clark is on his way. We have with us, just coming back from India, our own Minister of State, Dr. Norman Dunn, who incidentally is in charge of the ISO business in the ministry. In fact, some months ago, really before I even got to the ministry, Dr. Dunn realized that we're out there selling ISO whatever, and I tell you what it is, it's 9001 2015. Please don't leave off the 2015. Guys at the back will tell you have to have the whole thing. So Dr. Dunn was there, and he said, look, we're out there selling this thing, and we're not ISO 9001 2015 certified. So I said, all right, get together, let's do it. So, to Dr. Dunn and the team who have done this together, and it's really outstanding. Those private businesses, they're big names, you'll hear them later on, who have joined it, are very pleased of it, and I'm very happy that they have done this. And I wanted to give them a round of applause. Mrs. Sansia Bennett-Templer, who you've heard, our Permanent Secretary, she's the one who tells me what I must do and what especially I cannot do in the ministry. Chairman of boards, you and your board members who serve for free. The lawyers have a fancy name for it, pro bono, but it's free to me. You, all of you who are here and serve so well and so diligently. Some of you I know, Melanie at Jampra spends 6 hours sometimes in board meetings with our board members because of the weight of what they have to carry at the agencies. Government is complicated. I can tell you that I came from private sector where we thought we did complicated things. Well, try government. So all out there who in the private sector, recognize these people who work so hard and for free. So chairman and board members of the various, and there are 20 agencies we have, I thank you very much. The heads of agencies who do not work for pro bono, and Dr. Clark is paying attention to what they work for these days. We thank you for the work you and your staff do in the agencies of the ministry, special invited guests, especially from the business sector. This is why we're here. The business sector is why we're here. I think I'm going to switch between one mic and the other, so I'll walk around a bit. But we're very happy to have the business people here, men and women, who make sure the government gets the money it needs to run the government, because it's your taxes that keep the government, that will keep the government going. Media practitioners, I hear Cliff is in the house somewhere. Always good to hear him. I heard Dr. Dunn on my way here on Cliff's program. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to host this rebranding and quality recognition ceremony as the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The occasion of rebranding of a business is invariably the culmination of serious review, open discussion within the firm, at least at the senior levels, that's how businesses do it, and much thought given to the strategy and direction of the business. What is true of such a process to rebrand a business in the private sector is even more fundamentally true when there is an occasion to rebrand an entire ministry. We have seen it necessary to rebrand the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, which we now refer to unofficially. Is only one man who can name ministries officially, and you know who he is, and it's not me. So I have sort of usurped unofficial naming authority to rename the ministry Jamaica's Business Ministry. So when you think about business, and anything you do somewhere has something to do with business, you need to talk to us. And we're here, we're making sure we're making sure that we do have ways to help you. But you know, as we looked at rebranding the ministry, as we looked at what we have to do with what we have, I recognize that the Andrew Holness administration inherited a really toxic concoction of a high level of sovereign debt, it's just the truth, an unstable currency, a high level of unemployment, and very low economic growth. We had economic growth meandering at about 1% for 50 years, a growth rate that, you know, is not sustainable. So where are we today coming out of that debilitating situation? The Most Honourable Andrew Holness and his cabinet have converted that really toxic arrangement into these results. Coming out of the pandemic, Jamaica grew by 8.2%. We have up there, we show you what the unemployment rate was. And I'm just taking from 2015, but you know the same ratio that you see on the left-hand side continued for 4 or 5 decades, because we never grew very much and our employment kept high. It's a funny situation, because now everywhere I go, business people tell me that they can't find workers. And I just remind them that the price mechanism works for the 3 factors in an economy: your capital, your labor, your land, whatever else you have to do. And so the price of labor is salary. So when we had high unemployment, businesses could choose whoever they want, and them could take whoever they want for government. And Minister Clark is making sure they can't always do that anymore. In time, it will work out, it will come. But you could always get as many people you want. Well, now we're in a different situation. and the price of labor is coming in, so you're probably going to have to look at your pricing mechanism. But that's how the market works. Coming out of the pandemic, we grew by 8.2% up to April 22, and up to the September 30th of last year, we grew by 5.7%. Now that's significant considering the history that we've had. And most people, most reasonable people, would have to agree that the Andrew Holness administration, listen, I have to talk about it. That's the only reason I'm up here. As a man give me the job, me have to say something. Okay? So now we're arguing with me about me mention it again, because me might mention it again. I saw it go. So most people, most reasonable people, would argue, would have to agree that Andrew Holness administration has handled the COVID-19 pandemic well, something that occurs once in a century. Very well up to this point. Now, it's not him alone, but he led it. Every evening he was up there before the television. Chris was there with him, my colleague, Minister Tufton, the CMO, and we all have our thoughts and ideas, but boy, we've come out at a relatively good pace. And a lot of people have to take credit for that, including the people who made the sacrifices and couldn't go to work and had to work from home and teach them children. Not easy. So, before Minister Clark changed the rules and said we're going to make sure the central bank focus on targeting inflation, even when he said it, because I led the bill through the Senate, people were saying, you can't do this, you have to look at the foreign exchange rate. How many people here are talking about foreign exchange rate anymore? The central bank has done what we expected would happen. They have managed the currency well. And look at the period between 2020 and even 21, 2022. You see there is a leveling off of the currency. Our currency has remained very stable against the US dollar when all the strong currencies against the world have devalued against the dollar. Remember, we lost a prime minister in England because of inflation, and when they announced their new financial package, the stock market and the pound went to south, and we know the rest. Jamaica didn't have any of that. We have countries in Asia that have had serious problems. Our neighbors in the Caribbean have had problems. But look at our currency. We remain good. So we must be cognizant of the fact that while the US dollar has been increasing in value against most other currencies, ours stayed quite stable. Let's look at where we are today with Jamaica's unemployment rate. I just take you from 2015. 2015, really, you can see that was what extended backwards if you look at my left-hand side. But look at what has happened to unemployment. Where we are, 6.2%. That 6.2% was, I think, in February of last year. January was even lower to 6.1. So that's where we are. In an emerging market, we're looking at almost full employment, which is why business people are saying we need more trained Jamaicans to get into the workforce. My colleague, Dr. Clark, kept the debt trajectory on a downward slope. I can tell you, international bodies, private sector banks, locally and foreign, want us to borrow a lot more money. No. The debt trajectory must go one way down, because as we take it down, we have fiscal space to get to use that money to build an infrastructure and make a better society for Jamaica. Debt is close to death. Let's avoid it. So I support that position. We borrow only when we have to. And yes, there's a time when it makes sense, but most times, especially when what we looked at what we did in the past, it hasn't made sense. Today, Jamaica is seen by many local business investors, and that's most important to me as the Minister of Business here in Jamaica, that local investors are positive on Jamaica, as well as foreign ones. A few weeks ago, I was at the British High Commissioner. Two of Jamaica's biggest business people took me aside and said they haven't seen Jamaica in this condition for 40 years, and they are investing billions of dollars in Jamaica to make sure their business grow. Now, you can take a guess where that money used to be in times past. If it wasn't invested here in Jamaica, where was it? Now they're investing in Jamaica, but foreign investors are also looking to invest in Jamaica. Do we need a lot more? We need a lot more, especially when I tell you some of the things I'm going to tell you in a minute. And how did we get here? By good government policies and the robust, positive, and intelligent practices of our vibrant business sector. Don't believe that government alone can do anything. Government can't do most anything well that the private sector does. So we must set policies, set the rules, make sure it's fair play, make sure consumers are looked after, and let business get on with their business. One of the big complaints that I have, especially from my young entrepreneurs, some of them who I know very well, is that government makes rules to try and trap the 3 or 4% people who behave badly, and there are some of them who behave badly. And then, in that process, they mess up the entire life of the other 97%. So as we, and a lot of us are government people, and certainly here in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, we must change that mindset. You can't just try to control everything and mash up everything. Make sure we make rules that make sense, that those who must practice business have a free hand and a free foot, I was going to say, but maybe they have two, so feet, to make sure that they can walk and do their business well. But when anybody crosses the line and gets out of hand, come down with a sledgehammer, legally I mean, please don't go and kill anybody. A legal sledgehammer so that they pay the price of breaking the rules. But we can't live by making rules to mess up everybody's life because 3% of our business people behave badly. That doesn't, so we have to think differently. That's what we want to talk about here in the business ministry. The Financial Administration Audit Act was put in to make sure that that kind of business, that we look after ourselves and we're transparent in government. The role of business. That I talked to you about was the government part. We make policies and we try and make sure that we keep the currency proper and unemployment going the right place downwards. The business part is as vitally important. Let's start with the basic fact. There is nothing called government money, and I'm going to repeat it. There is nothing called government money. The money that the government controls, Dr. Clark has it, but the government no make no money. Let me explain to you. Most of the government's money comes from businesses and their employees. Most of government's money come from businesses and their employees. So me love business. Because it's the only way we can have a civil and sensible and growing society. There are certain sources that we must recognize. Incredibly helpful remittances from the Jamaican diaspora. They don't come into the government consolidated fund, but the people who get most of that money, They have to spend pretty much all of their disposable income. Therefore, when they spend it, businesses have to collect the GCT and send it into the government. One of the most efficient ways to collect taxes. And you know something? Even if you hide money, sooner or later you have to buy food, you have to buy clothes, and if you fancy like some of my business colleagues, and I'm not just looking at Tani, then you want to buy big cars, you have to make sure you have, you pay GCT on it. So in other words, remittances, I always pick on them. Remittances are very important to us. Grants from various governments. The EU is very helpful to us. And we recognize and appreciate it. But the biggest part of the $815.3 billion that Minister Clark mentioned in the supplementary budget in November last year, the biggest part comes from business. At this stage, we just want to stop and you know, clap business, because sometimes them not get no clap. Them not get no clap. All them get is how them want more money and no. So let's clap businesses, because that's how the country works. See our revenue and expenditure there? 2016, when you came in, revenues went up. Sorry, the expenditures went up. We had to work hard to get the revenues up. Notice that the revenues are nearly where our expenditures are, so we have to borrow very little bit. In fact, I talked to you about that supplementary budget. Minister Clark added $60 billion to our expenditure level last year. And he could do that because the revenues coming from our tax collections was raised by 65.5. So therefore, we are in a good place, and we didn't raise any taxes, no new taxes since 2016. In fact, we cut it twice, 1.5 each time, 1.5 if you earn 1.5 million. And when we looked at what was happening in the pandemic, we cut the GCT by 1.5 to 15% from 16.5. I'm not sure why they like this 1.5 number, but works. So if businesses and their employees are the largest provider of money that the government spends, and if businesses are also the entities that employ so many hundreds of Jamaicans, hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans, and pay the largest salaries in the economy up to now, you will understand why the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce must be rebranded to take a laser-sharp focus on helping, encouraging, facilitating our businesses to excel, to be profitable. Nothing wrong with being profitable. Not in my book, and not, as it was famously said, in the cabinet that I sit. Not in that cabinet. Profit looks good. And constantly to exceed their previous achievements, that's businesses, and to lead Jamaica to become a wealthier country. We must do something about that. A lot rests on business shoulders. I took government's responsibility up front. Now I'm saying to your businesses, you have a real job to change this country, because government can't do it. Government can't do it alone. You can't do it alone because you can't set the rules and play. Government is important. Together, we need to make sure we understand that for this country to be changed, to become a wealthier country, and even a wealthy country, we must have businesses working well. Hence, the Ministry of Business. You know, to do that, we have 20 agencies. They come up there, see them there? All of them. JAMPRO, JIFSA, JIPO, that's Jamaica Intellectual Property Organization, JANAC, you'll hear more about that. Consumer Affairs right at the top there. So while I push business, businesses must play by the rules and play fairly. Consumer Affairs Commission, Ms. Dulcie's right there, Fair Trade Commission, all of them have to work together to make sure it works. And when they're not working together, we as policymakers must change the policies and make the work better. So when I'm going to tell you about repurposing, don't get upset. Jamaica has gone this way for a long time. If we want to go to where we're going to be wealthy, we must repurpose how we run government, and this ministry, the business ministry, must start. Others are probably ahead of us, you know them. But we're going to make sure these agencies that must do well, must do well. And you can imagine there's a friction. As a minister, I am supposed to work with cabinet to make policy. The permanent secretary is the chief executive officer. She runs the ministry. I can't hire anybody. Can't fire anybody. I can't join the checks. But by heavens, my job is to set policy. Because the people of Jamaica bought a certain policy when they voted for the Andrew Holness administration. My job is to take that from cabinet, get it into the ministry, get it to the agencies, and sometimes you have to push harder than others. Because if you don't push the policy, people do what they want. And it's just how it is. But if we're going to get where we want to get to go, we have to work together. And these are there. There are JANAC, JAMPRO, EXIM, JBDC. You ever hear about Campbell soup, alphabet soup? JACISA, CAC, FTC. FTC and CAC, soon to be merged. BSJ and NCRA, soon to be legally separated. The last two you've been hearing about in the news recently. You're going to hear more on Friday morning when I host that press conference straight up front. People have to be accountable because you know what? When I took over, the cartoonists in the Observer run a cartoon. It was in this meeting, in fact, when we had the first JAMPRO meeting of the board. So that was run some weeks ago, but I saved it and I brought it to the JAMPRO board. Why? Because them have me up there in a window, and just in case they didn't know who it was, them put my name on the person in the window, and them have the bang belly man downstairs looking up there and say, "What you going to do, or what you going to do for us, or something to that effect." And I brought it to the board to the board of JAMPRO and the senior management, and I said, "Look." At the time, Don Webby was the chairman. I said, everybody in Jamaica knows Don Webby. Don Webby has to be one of the biggest spenders for advertisers in Jamaica. So the newspapers know him. At the time, before Diane resigned, when she ended her contract, Diane Edwards was the CEO. Everybody in Jamaica knows that JAMPRO and Diane are linked together. And me just become minister like 2 weeks, and it's my name and face them put up there. So you know what I said? You better understand this. What you do in your agency affects me and the government. They're not calling the head of the agency. They call you, but in the end, they come right back to the minister. Because A, they ascribe to us a lot more power than we have because I want to run the place. I can't tell you what to do. But when it goes wrong, it's us they hold accountable. So you better do it right. And if you don't do it right, you're going to hear from this policymaker. Not to interfere with your business. I have been a CEO long time. I have worked with boards. I've been a chairman of boards. I've been a board member. I know where the responsibility changes. But I also know that the major shareholder has an interest, and by policy must set what that interest is. And in this case is only one shareholder, the government of Jamaica. And the Prime Minister chooses his ministers to represent that policy. So it is that tension, that tandem, that must work well to make sure you get to do what you have to do. The PS gives you the resources. If you're going off track a little bit, she calls you up and says, look, why don't you look at this? You need to change it. And the policymaker is in there, and when it gets bad, please don't let the press tell me. I don't want to hear from the press. You pick up the phone and call the PS, who is, if you're the CEO, you report to, the board chairman, and I appoint the board chairman, and it's a title, so it's unisex, must call the minister. You have a straight line to the minister, and you all know, so I give out my number. My team at the ministry, Permanent Secretary, Chief Technical Director, Michelle Parkins, who's here with us this evening, and other senior executives, plus the advisors in my office, will be working closely with the boards and management of these agencies to repurpose these agencies to focus on three main objectives that I will outline in a minute. But I want to take a minute and ask you, did you know that the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation does these things? Here we go. No, I'm going to go back because we're talking about JANAC. I picked this one out. You guys know JAMPRO, JBDC, certainly you know BSJ and NCRA over the past couple of weeks. But you don't know this, most of you don't. Do you know that JANAC is one of 4 bodies in the world, and I think 2 of them are in the United States, that has the FDA authorization to give accreditation to to practicing bodies, and we do that in 10 countries. There they are. Jamaica, Bahamas, all of them. Only JANAC. Do you know that there are 11 protocols under the FDA accreditation process, and Jamaica, JANAC, has the highest number of protocols, 10 of them. There's an 11th, and I know Sharon May, Shirley, who you'll hear from a little bit later, is getting that 11th. Jamaica is leading. So we go to Guyana, we approve their rice accreditation. When JANAC does it and they get the FDA arrangement from JANAC, they don't have to have inspection when they arrive at the port in the United States. It's a big thing. It's a very big thing. We have the International Laboratory Accreditation, ILAC with the Mutual Recognition Arrangement, the Inter-American Accreditation Corporation, JANAC, and one of the nice things about JANAC, it is self-sufficient in terms of the money it earns. Don't have to ask the PS. Give them a clap. They don't have to ask the PS for any money. The Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, JACEZA, the regulator for our Special Economic Zone, Kelly Dawn Hamilton is here. She is the acting CEO at the time. And what we're trying to do is where sugar is gone, I divested it and removed $5 billion off the backs of Jamaican taxpayers every year. So anytime you hear them ask what Aubyn Hill do with the sugar, I removed $5 billion a year of subvention money that the government had to take and subsidize the sugar industry. That doesn't make sense. Didn't make sense, gone. So sugar is gone. Banana, greatly reduced. Agriculture, finding its way in new format, and there's a great reason to invest in agriculture. Mrs. Val Rivera and Denzel can tell you that. JBDC, they do a lot of that stuff, and they work with small farmers to get that done. Another of the agencies in the ministry. But the special economic zone that you know that houses what you call BPOs and what we now call the global digital services sector is an amazing place. At the end of 2019, we had 43,000 employees. We now have about 60,000 employees. And we have people in there that are working 7 years, 10 years, and they have senior jobs. And you know how I know? When I went there with the Prime Minister and he was launching informatics, when it was done, I walked around, went up to them. I saw that, I think it's JetBlue has their center of excellence here. Then I went down to the car parks. I didn't see a Lada, no Pro Box. We only see very high-end BMW and Mercedes and very, very good SUVs, generally Toyota. I've seen them. And that's what people used to complain about. You go work at BPO? Oh, yeah? Take another look. That's a place we're going because we're training people to do that. But the Jamaica Special Economic Zone has to step in. We have 650 acres of land right next to the port in Caymanas. Danny Shirley knows it. It's UDC land. We're looking to develop the Special Economic Zone. It will take $200 million. Yes, we're looking to foreigners, but I want to see a Jamaican consortium or Jamaica business firm put that money together, become the master developer. All the rent that you get will be tax-free for a negotiated period of time, a long period of time. You get a 50-year lease, renewable. All the money that is not rent-related, you invest in shares and land, you would have to pay 12.5% on that. This opportunity won't come again. There's no more Caymanas. So I'm begging you, please, find a consortium and take it on. Jamaica's business ministry spans the whole spectrum, from manufacturers and service creators to exporters, importers, testing and accreditation agencies, through distributors and logistic providers, to retailers, and ultimately to consumers, whom the entire chain exists. So what's our objectives with this rebranding? I have three main ones. There are others, but there are three main ones. Grow exports. Let me see if I can find the graph. You see that red mark down the bottom? That's the negative trade gap that we've had. So I asked my research team to look at our trade since 1960, so for 61 years up to last year. For 61 years is 1 year. Not many foreigners in here. 1 dege year that we had a positive trade balance in 1966. See a little blip there, down in 1966? After that is pure negative. How do you become rich being negative on your trade? So you know what? Let me tell you what the numbers are. So you see that history. In 2021, we imported $5.975 billion worth of goods and services. We exported a mere measly 1.441. The trade gap is 4.5 billion plus US dollars, me talking. So you see where we are. We need to change that. But you know something? I have a sheet of paper here. It has the per capita GDP of countries in this region. Starting off with Puerto Rico, 31,000. Bahamas, 28,000. All little places like Antigua and Barbuda, 14,900. Grenada, 9,900. They got invaded and they're still bigger than us. You go down and you have to turn the page and go down. And when you get to the bottom, it's Jamaica. 4,586,000, less than 5,000 US dollars is our per capita GDP. So if you split it up among all Jamaicans, that's what you get. See there? And we keep importing more. But we're going to have to export more. We cannot do that because we have only 3 million people with a very low per capita GDP. So we have 3 million people who are relatively poor. If we only keep selling to Jamaicans, we will never become a wealthy country. So we must become like, do I have another graph? You see that gray one up there? Singapore. Look at everybody else. You can guess what the red one is. See where we are? Now, I want you to be as upset as I am. That is unacceptable. We don't even talk about trading. We don't talk about export. We talk about everything else. Everybody else is politics. We talk about politics in Jamaica. How much are we exporting? Businesses in here, I don't care what you do. If you make coffins, find a way to export it. So you know what? I warn people, if they invite me to them funeral, I am going to find a way to talk about export. So don't invite me to your funeral. Because it is so vital to the country. We have to change this. We cannot remain poor people. We must export to the world. There's a lot riding on the shoulders of government and business in Jamaica to balance this trade issue. That negative trade balance that I showed you before can't stand. It must go. Look at Israel. Israel has 9.2 million people. And they export their per capita GDPs for about 48. Singapore has 5.7 million people, a small country. Luxembourg has an even higher per capita GDP than Singapore. Look at where Singapore is. 15, 16 times ours. Them don't have no oil. Them don't have no people. Them don't even have land. They have to buy dirt from somewhere and put in the sea to make land. But they are trained. That's where we have to go. It's one of my 3 objectives. So I'm going to move quickly and show you that Jamaica's export history has been a terrible one. This history is tough to tackle. It cannot stand. You all now understand why our many agencies must focus whatever they do. So if you get 10 applications for new business, Company Office of Jamaica, and you see 3 of them look like they will export, move them to the top. Don't tell anybody I tell you that, because I'm going to tell you, say you're not doing their business fast. But I'm just telling you that export has to take preference. You have to work that out. Whatever you're doing, when you're doing accreditation and it's an exporter that comes in, give them the first but. Or a company that is substituting things that we buy. Look at that, because we have to make sure, but above all, we need to get hard currency. We have to export. And it's not just goods. Services. We're taking, how am I going to help export? Trade missions. Just took one to Guyana, the beginning of October, 35 business people or so. The business arrangements, the meetings that they've had, 5 of them I think are going back. Businesses have started, uniforms are being built, we're exporting more stuff. So this time, on the 23rd of January, we're taking 60 businessmen, about 45 or 46 businesses going with us. Why are we doing that? Because we have to go look for the markets. And the truth is, when I go to Guyana or Trinidad or anywhere else, as a minister, I can open doors. No, don't believe this is going to my head. Me no say. Is one man make the call, a whole minister. So we're going to use it till he make another call. But until he make that call, this minister out there a sell. Because we haven't done enough. We haven't taken people overseas and say, here's a market. Come look at the market. Guyana has just found 16 billion barrels of oil declared. Exxon running it. So you know Exxon has another 5 or 10 in their back pocket. They'll tell you the whole truth. They don't tell you how much they find. And they're finding more every day. 83,000 square kilometers of land. Only 780,000 people. Them love Jamaicans. We love them. We treat them with respect. They know we respect them. And they asked me to come back, so I'm bringing 60 of them this time. We have over 100 business-to-business meetings set up already. The Go Invest in Guyana tell us, please now stop. So we're taking Nicholas. Nicholas knows everything in Guyana. He's from Jampro. He's on the board. Over there, raise your hand, man. I want them to know who you are. So if they want to go, it's you. Nicholas going to look for other business meetings while we're there. That's how we have to go about it. And there's no excuse. We must do it. We have to do it. So we're taking that mission to Guyana. So that's one way we look at building or taking down that negative barrier. So what's the other one? The second one is grow investments. Look at our foreign direct investment. When I came into the ministry, PS will tell you, I asked for a sheath of data. Data on the people who run the place, data on what we have done, what our exports are, what are we looking at. See where the foreign direct investment is going? Wrong direction. So when we go to Guyana, we look for people who have money and say, come to Jamaica. Because yes, you're going to build a port when in 4 or 5 years' time you won't recognize Guyana. You're going to have a wonderful port, but right now they have a draft. The Marara River has 3 or 4 meters deep. Them not having a port, so Jamaica should become the logistics center. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, I told you about the Jamaica Special Economic Zone. We must build the logistics from here. And Guyana gives us that great opportunity. So if you haven't been thinking about that, think about logistics and how Guyana wants everything. They want medicine, they want food, they want everything. And them have some good things that you can sell and make money too. So the foreign direct investment, I want to talk about foreign local investment. There are rich people in Jamaica. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they tell me, say, you know, I think it's Main Event. Main Event, they have 30 parties going. Now, what do people go to party? Why are you laughing, Tani? And they tell me, said, this year Frenchman was bigger than ever. And we know what's happening. The banks have a lot of money to lend because the government not borrowing. We step out of the market so you can have all the money you want. So we need to make sure that we have local people investing in Jamaica. And I'm going to be very focused on local direct investment, and our agencies will be as well. And the third one, third main objective, we have some other ones, list to this. Train many young people. And I'm talking about apprenticeship. JBDC does, but we're coordinating with HEART to make sure the 300 or 400 young men who do ganja in them hands, left school, never finish, because all the girls them are graduate and them gone. We need to take them in. HEART is working out a program. They start, I think, this month. Prime Minister's put in a new chairman, a new managing director, repurposing HEART, so we must repurpose. We must train because the business people say they want people. And I don't want them to train and just, when I came, we borrowed $15 million from IDB. I was in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation then. And we're looking at global digital services to train people. And I see training. And Valerie, there was no certification. I said, no. Shulette was there with Diane, and they're the ones who felt the pressure I put on. I said, no, never. So I changed it. Take it back to cabinet. Training and certification. So we put trained and in small letters, fit for export. Because the Jamaicans must be able to work everywhere. Why only here? But when you train them here and people come to hire them here, they won't go. And if they go, very often we benefit. So you see the ministry and HEART working together to make sure, sorry, I have to go back a bit. There they are. The ministry and HEART working together. So business must also take a much stronger responsibility, greater responsibility for training. I have lived around the world. I've lived in 9 countries, done business in a whole heap. Don't even tell you about it. Waste your time. But what I've found is many, many businesses overseas, especially in developed economies, and we know that, but some very astute emerging market economies are training their people well. If we don't, we're going to remain poor. And I don't like poor. I don't know many Jamaicans, any Jamaicans who like poor. Those of us who are privileged to lead must help them get to a better place. We must be honest. We must honor our jobs. We must do what we're supposed to do. We must help them raise up that ladder. That's our responsibility. We're privileged, and we have a responsibility to do it. And by heavens, this minister is going to hold everyone accountable, starting with me. That's why I'm making it public. So we at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce commit. I, as your Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's Business Ministry, commit to find legislative and practical ways to enable our economy to produce goods and services Jamaicans and overseas consumers want to buy, working with you. You in the ministry, you in government, some of you are not from my ministry, you in the business community. We intend to use that process to really grow our exports of goods and services. Not just goods, goods and services. Attract a greater level of local and foreign direct investment so that businesses can employ more people, help drive sustained economic growth, make profits, yes, and move Jamaica noticeably up the wealth ladder. We at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce intend to work with businesses and their employees to help Jamaica become the leading economy in the Caribbean. And that's a preview to what our brand is. Thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to working with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together once more for Senator the Honourable Aubyn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, unofficially Jamaica's Business Minister. I think you'll walk around with that title. Wow, what a presentation. I don't know about you, but I feel uncomfortable in a good way, in the best way, because it is important for us to come out of our seats of comfort so that we can definitely move forward with all the right things that we do have here in our country. And as Minister said, we have grown out of the pandemic, and many countries can't say that, but we have grown out of the pandemic, and a lot of sacrifices were made. And through the challenges, though they were many, and while some countries have not been able to even get a sense of stability, we have been able to find some stability. We continue to push forward with wisdom, quality strategies, good governance, good policies, and rules that make sense. Businesses that are equipped with the right tools to get on with their businesses. Accountability and the rules that will hold those who perform poorly responsible. Businesses are necessary for Jamaica's growth. Can we say that together, please? Businesses are necessary for Jamaica's growth. There we go. Because we still want Jamaica to be that place where we live, we work, we do business, and raise our families. And Minister, as you mentioned agriculture, and you know as a farm chick myself, it's a big, big part of my heart. And so I also want to big up RADA, because I know that RADA also got ISO certified as well. So can we please put our hands together for RADA, please? And indeed, we have much left to do here in Jamaica to push forward. We have to increase our ambition and training, train and fit for export. I love how that sounds, Minister. And so that when we see that Made in Jamaica stamp, it is hailed for quality and consistency and great work. Thank you again, Minister. Please put your hands together, please, for our keynote presenter. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, we welcome you now to the new professional, modern approach that will give business support to the local and international market. That is how the ministry will serve with this new brand direction. At this time, I ask that you turn your attentions to the screen.
Business fuels a society. It allows a country to flourish. Business provides the necessary goods and services. It is about exporting. Business is what funds the government and society. It is revamping, rebranding, and reshaping. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's business ministry, is transforming to serve you better, the business community, and the people of Jamaica. We are focused on increasing exports and trade, innovation, economic growth, boosting investments, strengthening industries, empowering consumers, quality and excellence. The colors we use to encapsulate our national pride represent us. We have bound them together in our new logo to show how embedded our pride is in our Jamaican people. Black, the strength, creativity and ability to face the challenges of the nation's people. Gold, the natural beauty of the sunlight and the wealth of the country. Green symbolizes hope, Jamaica's abundant agricultural resources and environmental resilience, and the continuous growth of our economy and people. The new brand is clear and precise. It signifies that we are professional and straightforward and will communicate with simplicity and clarity. It conveys modernity and timelessness. We are positive about Jamaica's future and the hope and promise of the generations and years to come. The new brand signifies the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce's commitment to supporting export and investments, job creation, protection of consumers and businesses. We will continue to lead with vision and a strong purpose. We will ensure that we deliver quality services that accord with the relevant legislative and regulatory frameworks and the standards required for facilitating growth. We will simplify the ease of doing business and safeguard consumers. We will never stop innovating, never stop creating, never stop growing, learning and reinventing. The Ministry of Industry, Investments and Commerce, Jamaica's business ministry.
Let me see if I can slide through here. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Jamaica's business ministry. And Minister, I'm asked to invite you back to the stage to say a few words. We also want to acknowledge the arrival of our Minister of Finance, the Honourable Nigel Clark. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us this evening.
Big round of applause for the Minister. Welcome, Minister. You got lots of kudos in my speech, but because you've done a tremendous job in holding our you manage the money, and I was here telling people how you manage it, then I told them who actually made the money that you managed. Thank you so much for coming. What I want to say about what you see here is, if you look at what we had before, which is sort of behind you, don't look at that too much. When are you, you will put up the new logo in a minute. But here we are looking at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. We have made sure the national colors are there. Listen to me, man. When you have the black, green and gold, that is so clearly identified with Jamaica. Very few flags are known. US, of course, is known. British gets these days mixed up with Australia, New Zealand, and so on. But Jamaica's colors, we don't even have to put in a flag anymore. You see black, green, and gold, you know it's Jamaica. So we wouldn't move away from that. And of course, when you're talking about anything these days, I had an interview this morning with some overseas newspaper, and although it's Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, somehow the conversation get around the green. What you're doing for climate change, what you're encouraging business to do. You have to spend a lot of time talk about it, and if you're going to deal with the international community, you better understand what it is. So, here's the green, part of the flag. And we are what? Growing exports. When we go to Guyana, sometimes you don't have the place to put the whole logo on, so we have a tagline. Jamaica's business ministry. Before you came, I just reminded everybody who has the right to name a ministry is only one man. So I took unofficial rights when I was in Philadelphia and said, we're going to call our ministry Jamaica's business ministry. And it really is. When you have an issue on business, you come to us. If there's tax involved, we have to write a letter to the Minister of Finance, but we cooperate. We go to the same cabinet. We have the same goal. It's one goal, a better Jamaica. There are no two goals. So we have 3 ministers here, one goal. So we make sure we say we're the business minister, we take the responsibility and we follow through. Increasing investment. So our first aim, Minister Clark, because you weren't here, but you know the numbers like I do. We import $5.975 billion US dollars worth of goods and service. We export a measly 1.441. The gap is over 4.5 billion US. We have to export. We can't keep selling to 3 million relatively poor people and become a rich country. We must sell to the world. So export is my number one objective, and I'm talking to every business person about it. As I said, if you make coffins, find a way to export some. It's hard. I see you raise your eyebrows. It's not easy. But I'm not asked what we have, 4.5 billion US dollars negative trade gap is not an easy hurdle. We have to do everything. Increase investments. We have to bring in investments. And yes, you think of FDI, foreign direct investments, but there's a lot of money in Jamaica. We know that. I know that. I was in the banking industry. The bank, remember now, the government isn't borrowing from the banks. See him there? We don't want to borrow any money. We want our debt to go down. So the money, when we made that decision as a government, we wanted to give room to the private sector to use the money to develop. So here we are. We need investments from local people as well as foreign people. This is our banner. This will be going with us to Guyana. So when we go, we roll out our banner, Jamaica's Business Ministry. The logo is here. The tagline is here. And it looks nice. True, man. Give the people who do it a round of applause. Poor Tess Maria was under the gun. Me said the thing it came here a few minutes before, not this another thing that she had to do. But she had a short time, and of course, PS and I are in there making changes, want it differently, but we got here. And here is another one. Grow exports and investments, enable businesses to succeed. Remember, I tell you how I like profits. Good profits, clean profits. If you mess with the stuff, we're going to take you on. And you really can't beat City Hall. Because, you know, if this government leaves, if this minister leaves, the government not going anywhere. If this minister leaves, there's another one that will come. Okay? And we'll carry on. And we'll carry on the work of if you broke the laws, we're going after you. You do good things well, we're going to support you. And I will lead that for you. So we want to enable businesses to succeed. So it's a message we're carrying around. Nice, clean logo. The one that was before had done its service well. We need to sharpen it. We're sharpening it, and we're carrying the message that exports, investments, and training people are the three main objectives we have. We have a lot of other subsidiary ones, but that's what we're pushing. Our workforce needs increasing. We have to find ways to do it. We're working with heart. Thank you very much. Use it as often, and we're going to have it everywhere you can see it. Thank you so much. Sorry, Debbie.
That's okay. In fact, I need you back on the stage.
Again?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our minister and for the new brand assets that will be representing and showing the new brand strategy and the way forward. So at this time, I'm inviting our permanent secretary to come to the stage because she has a special presentation for you, Minister. I know you did not anticipate this one, but I'm sure you'll hang this one high. So this will be the first official photo moment in front of the new banners with the minister himself, the Minister of Business. Please feel free to take out your phones and capture the moment.
What she said was, thank you for being so miserable.
Thank you so much, Minister. Thank you so much to our permanent secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together again for this new move. Jamaica's business ministry. We're also going to be inviting, I know that we're going to be removing the banners, I believe. Yes? All right, so we can continue with the proceedings. Here we go. Do you like them? You like the banners? You feel good about the messaging? Yes? Okay, good. I think they look good. And Minister, I think you're going to be representing yourself well when you go overseas with them. You don't even have to say much. Just pull out your banner and say, I'm here. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of the first half of the proceedings. And now we move forward to the second half, the last of the proceedings. So it is time to acknowledge the certification of the ministry and the agencies now certified ISO 9001-2015 Quality Management System. The ISO 9001-2015, Minister said, do not leave off the 2015. The standard aims to improve the business environment and quality of public service delivery in ministries, departments, and agencies. It demonstrates that there is care for customers and clients, and that there's a commitment to the most efficient and up-to-date services. In September 2022, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce became the first ministry of government to be certified to ISO 9001-2015 standard. To attain this certification, the process and systems of the ministry underwent a rigorous testing system of its processes and systems. As the entity mandated to manage the national quality infrastructure, it was considered critical that this ministry lead by example and achieve certification. And I also want to acknowledge other entities that have been certified ISO 9001-2015. And as I go along, I'll mention them. We're talking about 30 entities. I want to acknowledge the Accountant General Department, the Auditor General's Department, the Council of Community Colleges in Jamaica, Excelsior Community College, Jamaica Information Service, National Land Agency, Land Tilting Division, I believe. Thank you so much. There we go. Management Institute for National Development, the National Environment and Planning Agency, National Works Agency, the Passport Immigration and Citizen Agency, TAJ, Constant Spring Revenue Services Center, Urban Development Corporation, and I have a few more to go, but can we please put our hands together for all these entities that are now ISO certified. Now, our next speaker knows much about the importance of being accountable and also about the importance of having quality at the very center of our operation. A vice chair of the Inter-American Accreditation Corporation of the Americas and chief executive officer of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAC. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mrs. Sharon May Shirley, Executive Director for Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, who will be presenting on Jamaica's national quality infrastructure. Please make her welcome.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Senator the Honourable Aubyn Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Dr. the Honourable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Services, Dr. the Honourable Norman Dunn, Minister of State, MIIC, Mrs. Sancia Bennett Templor, Permanent Secretary, Hardworking PS, distinguished, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm excited. Having heard Minister Hill speak, I'm excited. Aren't you excited? Don't you feel the energy? We are absolutely proud to be standing behind Minister Hill. A round of applause for our minister. It is indeed my delight this evening to be a part of the ministry's rebranding and quality recognition program. I know this evening will be imprinted indelibly on my mind, and I hope yours as well. I greet you in my capacity as chair of the Inter-American Accreditation Corporation and as a member of the Quality Infrastructure Council of the Americas, but most importantly, as a member of the National Quality Policy Council of Jamaica, chaired by our ministers. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's business ministry, the implementer of the National Quality Policy of Jamaica, and if you have some time, I hope you will visit the exhibition at the back and you will see the National Quality Policy and the vision on the banner at the back. And the vision says that we believe that Jamaica has a national framework for the development of a sustainable, standards-led, market-driven economy supported by a culture of quality to achieve global competitiveness and consumer protection. Jamaica is on the cusp of a phenomenal transformation of industry and commerce. And we know, with God behind our minister, who has committed to opening doors for creating opportunities for the expansion of trade through exportation of goods and services, and he has begun to do this. We had a phenomenal mission trip to Guyana in October. He opened doors no one would imagine. And I know next week, when he brings that phenomenal team of 60 persons and 40-odd businesses, we are going to have a fantastic report coming out of Guyana. We must boldly grasp the opportunities to showcase Jamaican business solutions. But we can only do this if we can enter the door that's opened by the minister with quality goods and services. And this is where our national quality infrastructure comes in. Our national quality infrastructure, with organizations that support standardization and metrology, our Bureau of Standards Jamaica, accreditation, JANAC, the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, Conformity assessment. We have in our ministry conformity assessment bodies representing inspection bodies like the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division. We also have Jamaica's premier certification body, the National Certification Body of Jamaica, and the NCBJ is in the spotlight this evening. But why is the national quality infrastructure important? The effective operation of markets needs buyers and sellers to be confident in the reliability of the goods and services that are traded. When a businessman in Jamaica tells a business operator in Africa or Europe that I can deliver the goods or the services that you need, how do they trust you? They must trust you based on some system, and this system is the national quality infrastructure. This age-old problem of trust is solved by the World Trade Organization establishing an accreditation-based conformity assessment system. What does this system do? This system says that when an entity is checking the quality of the good or service, that there is an overarching layer of confidence that is provided by the national accreditation body of the countries that are in the partnerships or the mutual recognition arrangements. Jamaica is proud, and we are pleased as members of the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation to offer this final layer of confidence for our conformity assessment systems. And as Minister said before, JANAC is the only internationally recognized accreditation body in the English-speaking Caribbean. Yes, it deserves a round of applause. The NQI is important because there are substantial downstream impacts for industry and commerce. The improvement in productivity, efficiency, and growth through better business practices, the avoidance of costs related to non-conforming work, and importantly, when the exports get to the target market, there is no need to retest, re-inspect, or recertify because they have the stamp of approval from our national accreditation body, JANAC. Today, we want businesses to leverage by using the tools that are providing the national quality infrastructure. We want you to use the services that underscore that you provide quality goods and services. The Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, we have taken to heart what our minister has said. He said that his agencies must be best in class. All of us, we must support exportation, we must support investments, and we must provide the quality services that are recognized internationally. JANAC provides best-in-class support to our manufacturers and our exporters. Even before you asked, we went ahead and sought FDA recognition, and we are very proud to be the only accreditation body in the world that has 10 of the FDA scopes. Through this recognition, JANAC accredited certification bodies can attest to the safety and security of manufactured human and animal food products exported to the United States of America. JANAC is also internationally recognized for several standards, and we are proud that in a few short months, Minister, we will also be recognized for accrediting calibration laboratories. JANAC serves 10 Caribbean states, 10, including Trinidad and Tobago. We are very happy to be providing these services, and we have taken the challenge that Minister Hill has given us. He said, Sharon May, when we were in Guyana, 10 is not enough. You need to do much more. And very soon, Minister, you will hear about the 11th. JANAC provides accreditation services that can be trusted. We stand behind our ministry's motto of standards, quality, and excellence. We espouse this culture of excellence, and we have an effective quality infrastructure. We have the foundation built on quality management systems. This evening, the National Certification Body of Jamaica stands tall. We celebrate with their achievements as they recognize 7 MIIC entities. And you know, 7 is a perfect number for God. And He will continue to bless our efforts. We thank Him for the tremendous successes we have to date, but we know that we must, under Him and under the guidance that He will give to Minister Hill and Dr. the Honourable Norman Dunn, to lead this team so that we can make a significant impact in the trade deficit that we saw this evening. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to some of that income that Minister Hill is talking about. I want my children to have the resources that he is passionate that every single Jamaican should have. This evening, we are here as members, all the agencies and members of the team at MIIC standing behind you, Minister. We are here to demonstrate that our ministry is committed to standards, to quality, and excellence. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. Shirley. Wow. Thank you so much. She says we are on the cusp of greatness and we continue to press forward. We are so grateful and thankful for the work of JANAC in helping Jamaicans to really get to the world. You know, we're always saying Jamaica to the world. We're still going to the world, you know. All right? We're still going to the world for sure. And I agree with you, Mrs. Shirley. We are very excited about the future. Now, we have mentioned a couple of times since we started that we have 7 certified agencies that we will be acknowledging today. So before we do that, we ask that you turn your attention to the screen as we hear from them the value of the certification to the entities.
It was very important for us to be ISO certified because our aim is to be the best intellectual property office, not just in English-speaking Caribbean, but in the English-speaking Caribbean and Latin America. So it's important for us to have standards which we can be held accountable to internationally recognized standards.
The ISO 9001 standard is an internationally recognized standard which will allow organizations to perform at the optimum level. So whenever we conduct our disinfestation activities, whenever we conduct our training activities, you can rest assured that we are doing it according to international guidelines, international specifications, and just as good as any other entity in any other part of the world.
Now, in terms of ISO certification, the Commission worked very hard to achieve certification under the ISO regime. The benefits have been tremendous. We can provide better services to our manufacturers who are our primary stakeholders by ensuring that we produce top quality investigations so that those who are dumping or importing subsidized goods to Jamaica and causing harm to our manufacturers, that they can be dealt with through remedies such as trade remedies.
So the HSRA being ISO certified, it means that we are able to provide the kind of quality service that our stakeholders, and the stakeholders are the users of ionizing radiation technology. We're able to provide quality service to the business community. We're able to engender the kind of trust that is needed for the customer base that we serve, or the stakeholders that we serve.
We have to applaud the support that we received from the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Commerce, knowing that a move to be ISO certified is not just a good move for the ministry, but for the Jamaican economy on a whole.
So this initiative of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce for all its agencies to be ISO certified is an excellent initiative. It means that every agency under this ministry will adhere to international standards.
We at JBDC, we are very excited that our ministry has taken on board this concept of getting us all on the road to getting certified ISO. And they themselves are shown by example. And I think that this rebranding exercise is very important. So what it's doing is refreshing our image, making a strong statement that we are about business.
Processes are being changed, processes are being improved because we're focused on efficiency and delivering for you, delivering for our Jamaican people, making sure that when you come to us as organizations, what it is that you come to do, you're able to do it effectively. We don't waste your time, we deliver.
And it's predictable quality all the way. So we are very excited at the prospects of the future as we all move forward together as a team.
One ministry.
Absolutely. You heard it from the agencies themselves. They are very happy and excited to be certified, ISO certified. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make the presentation of the certificates. So I at this time invite Dr. the Honourable Norman Dunn, State Minister, and Mrs. Wellington Ford to come forward to make the presentations. And to the agencies, as you hear your names, we're asking that you come forward to accept your certificate. First up, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Andrew Marie Dawes, Executive Director for the Anti-Dumping and Subsidies Commission. That's right. Getting the good side for the photos. Big move there. Congratulations are indeed in order. And our next recipient from the Company's Office of Jamaica, representing the Company's Office of Jamaica, Heather May Sutherland, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Acting Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please make her welcome. From the Exim Bank, Lisa Bell, Managing Director. Lisa has a fan here. Go, Lisa. A move in the right direction. We congratulate the Exim Bank. We invite to the stage Dr. Roy McNeil, Chief Food Storage Officer for the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division. to collect his certificate. When these get hung in the offices, it's going to be a big deal. Big deal. Thank you so much, Doc. Representing Hazardous Substances Regulatory Authority, Tracy Ann Warner-Elliott. From Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Valerie Vieira, Chief Executive Officer. And we just saw Miss Valerie making her superstar debut a while ago on the big screen. She sent able representation. Congratulations to the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. And we invite from the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, Lily Claire Bellamy, Executive Director, to come forward to receive her certificate. And the big one, we are inviting Senator the Honourable Minister Hill to come forward. Receiving for the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's Business Ministry. Oh, I hope you got that on camera. Wow. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all of our agencies now with certificates in hand. And before we wrap up, I want to mention the other agencies. I told you we had some more to acknowledge. We want to say congratulations to the Early Childhood Commission, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission, National College for Educational Leadership, National Housing Trust, the Public Procurement Commission, the Jamaica Productivity Center, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, the first agricultural entity in Jamaica to be certified, the University Hospital of the West Indies, and also TAJ, Falmouth, Maypen, and Spanish Town Revenue Services Center. Please put your hands together for all of those agencies now officially certified. And it brings us to the end of our proceedings, but please do not all rush off and leave. We want to take photos. We want to capture this moment. I want to say thank you so much to you all for being here with us this evening. I hope you all are leaving here inspired. And we do have some drink and some refreshment on the outside, so you can take the opportunity to network and catch up on how the new year has started already for you. We have some agencies to the back. We ask that you not rush off altogether, but please visit them because we are about inspiring those who are not yet ISO certified to become ISO certified. So ladies and gentlemen, again, walk good. Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful rest of evening. My name is Debbie Bissoon. It has been a pleasure being your host. Thank you all so much.